So, President Reshif, it's such an honor to talk to you for our very first issue for our blog. I was telling you that it's such a gloomy and rainy day today, but you make it the bright day today, sir. Um, why don't you tell us something about University of People, how it is new, innovative, and how it makes education possible and accessible for students who are scattered around the world, sir?
So University of the People is the first nonprofit, tuition-free, accredited American online university built to serve the students who graduate high school and cannot do it for any reason. Some of them cannot do it because education is simply too expensive as the situation is in the US. In other places of the world, they can't do it because of availability. There aren't enough institutions.
Mhm.
Uh, take Nigeria, for example. Every year, 1.5 million students pass the university entrance exams, meaning qualified for higher education. But there are seats available only for 500,000. That means that 1 million students are deprived from higher education, a lost generation, every year. In other places, it's cultural issue.
Mhm.
Women in some countries are deprived from higher education, and also there are the political issues, whether they are undocumented in the US or refugees around the world. And for all these people, we use the internet in order to bring education to them. We only offer business administration, computer science, health science, associate and bachelor degree, as well as MBA and master in education. The programs that are most in demand, programs that are most likely to help our students find a job, because why they come to us, to have a better future. And that's basically what we do, and that's what we offer. And we use the internet in order to do it.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. And I was checking your website. You seem to have some courses also in education. Are those general education courses, or are students have a certain education?
So it's okay. First of all, we are liberal arts. So 1/3 of our degree is general education.
I got it.
We want to make sure that every student, while we teach them the degrees that are most in demand worldwide, and we help, and the degrees that are most likely help them find a job, at the same time, we want to broaden their mind. We want to create thinking individuals, and we want to make them part of the world. And as such, we also teach them liberal arts. By the way, independent of it, we have master in education in
Mhm.
collaboration with the IB, the International Baccalaureate, where we teach um, teachers uh, both to become headmasters and management in education, as well as prepare them to know and to teach the IB um, philosophy, pedagogy. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That's wonderful. What are some of the skills you think students who want to enroll in University of People ought to have in comparison to, the traditional classroom teaching? I'm sure they need to know a lot of other skills since everything is delivered through technology and it's not really physical classroom. What would be your advice to student in terms of learning certain skills so that they are ready for this kind of a atmosphere or this kind of learning?
Well, I think that in order to study with us, formally, students need high school diploma,
Okay.
and they should show that they are proficient in English.
Hmm.
Assuming the high school diploma from a recognized school and they are proficient in English, we let them take two of our courses.
Mm-hmm.
And we ask them to take two of our courses for them to see that they like our pedagogy
Mm-hmm.
and they like what it is to study with us, and it fits their schedule, their desire, their knowledge, but also for us to see that they meet our academic standards. So if they pass these two courses, they are being admitted. If not, they cannot continue with us. This way, we open the gate wide to any student. You think that you want to study with us, you think that you are qualified to study with us, go ahead, take these two courses. If you pass them, you continue with us. If not, sorry, we cannot. But in order to do so, you're right. I mean, it's very hard studying with us because it sounds like, oh, online, it's very easy. It's not easy. You need to have the self motivation.
True.
You work, most of our students work and they have families and they do other things. And then every night to have the discipline and the motivation to come to the class and be active. Second, even if they come to the class, it's not like a traditional classroom where you sit and listen to the instructor. You have to be active. If you are not active in the classroom and participate in the discussion, we don't know that you're there. If we don't know that you're there, you were not there. If you were not there, you failed. So you need to participate. You need to be active. You need to have high motivation. Obviously, you need internet connection, otherwise it won't work. We enable students to study with us even without broadband. So you don't need broadband necessarily, but you do need internet connection. Yeah.
I see. So the basic requirements actually are very minimal. That's what you're saying. And some of it comes from within you, motivation, because you're in a different space altogether, and there's a very high possibility for you to take it easy and get lost.
Right.
So go ahead,
And
please.
yeah, and it is true. And a lot of students, we have an orientation to actually teach them what it is studying online, what do you need, how to study online. Yeah, but you do need the motivation. And some students think, oh, I can make it. We tell the students that every course that you take with us requires 15 to 20 hours a week. That's a
Mm,
lot. We don't let the students take more than two courses a term. Every term is 8 weeks. But a lot of students say, oh, I can make it in an hour. Well, 1 hour goes by and they are gone because you can't do it in 1 hour. So yeah, I mean, it's quite challenging, but if you do it and you are successful, it's extremely um, satisfactory, and it's a great experience. I mean, think about it, that you study every time you take a class, you get to know 20 students from 20 countries, you have friends from all over the world, you learn new cultures, you interact with them, you have online friends from all over the world. It's great.
it's amazing. And you don't need visa or the hassle of getting visa just to know the people from outside your area, which is awesome. Um, I have one more curious question because I teach in a university where GMAT is very important and GRE is very important. But I was checking your website. There's an MBA course that you offer, which is open even though students don't have. In other words, they don't need a GRE or GMAT for that kind of a management course, I believe.
Right. So we offer MBA. It's actually our fastest growing program. And what you need in order to be accepted, first of all, you need to have BA that we can verify. Then, like the BA, where we have two courses that you have to pass in order to continue, you have three courses that you have to pass for the MBA. If you pass them, you get credit for them and you continue.
Mhm.
But it's open for everyone to try. By the way, we are tuition free, but we are not free.
Mhm.
We ask the students. They take, there is no material that they have to buy. They don't need to buy textbooks, and they study for free. There is no tuition. But when they get to the exam, we expect them to pay $100 for the assessment. That's for the BA. If
Mhm.
they take MBA, it's $200 per assessment per each course.
Mhm.
So it's about 4,000 US dollars for a full BA over the 4 years, and it's about 1,400, 2,400, 2,400
For MBA.
yeah, for the MBA. Again, our mission is that nobody um, will stay behind for financial reasons. So people who come and say that they don't have even this amount of money, we work very hard to give them to have enough scholarships for them. We're growing right now so fast that we do not have scholarship for everyone, regretfully, but we are trying to help those who cannot afford even this amount as much as we can.
Awesome. That sounds great. That's amazing. This is what education um, is about. It's just about for everyone, and you're trying to include all students, irrespective of where they are, what their boundaries are, and you're sort of fulfilling the dream of education, which is awesome. One more question I had from the perspective of students. When I was talking about University of People, this is the question that one of my students asked, and I had no answer. She wanted to know if it is like, like live, face to face, or is it pre-recorded classes and then students can come and join the classes anytime at their own feasible time.
Neither of the two.
Oh,
So,
I see.
okay, so let me describe a week. That will be the best way to describe. When students sign up, they come to the classroom and they go the first. So every week is 8 weeks long. All courses start on the same date, end on the same day, and
Mm-hmm.
every week starts on Thursday and ends on Wednesday. On Thursday, students who sign up to the course, usually 20 students,
Mm-hmm.
when they go to the class, they will find the names of the 20 students like themselves, and the description that the students decide to give about themselves. Each student can describe himself any way they want.
Mm-hmm.
And then every week, when they go to the class, Thursday morning, and let's describe a week. Thursday starts early morning. The first students in the class is Chinese, and usually just because China, the morning starts earlier than in the US. So the first student is Chinese, he comes to the class and then he sees the lecture notes of the week, the reading assignment of the week, the
Mm-hmm.
homework assignment, and the discussion question.
Mm-hmm.
It's text-based,
Okay.
and if we want the students to look at videos, we send them to videos.
Mm-hmm.
So they might watch videos, but there is no recorded lectures.
Okay.
The professor might record a small segment, but the idea is that everything is text-based with videos embodied into the course.
Mm-hmm.
The first student, so it's not live and it's not pre-recorded. And then the student goes into the class, he reads everything he saw, he see the lecture notes and see the videos, he read the assignment, the reading assignment, and then he see the discussion question.
Mm-hmm.
And he, the Chinese, decides to comment, to have his own original contribution about the discussion point, the question of the week. The second student, let's say that she's Indonesian, and
Mm-hmm.
she does the same, but when she goes into the class, she already sees what the Chinese wrote,
Mm-hmm.
and she decides to comment on what the Chinese wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And the third student is a Syrian refugee. He does the same, and he also comment on the Chinese. And the fourth one is American student,
Mm-hmm.
which decide to put his own comment.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese is very likely to go back to the class to see what his fellow students have to say about his point.
Mm-hmm.
And a discussion developed between the students. Every week, every student must have at least one original contribution
Mm-hmm.
and at least 3 times comment on other students.
Mm-hmm.
So the discussion developed all week long, and the instructor, and every class has an instructor, is in the classroom every single day to see what the people wrote, to
Mm-hmm.
correct mistakes if students made a mistake, to answer questions if they have questions, or maybe simply just um, redirect the discussion if the discussion went to the wrong direction. So all week long, the discussion developed between the students. By the end of the week, the students take a quiz to see that they understand the material. They hand in their homework, which is assessed anonymously and randomly
Mm-hmm.
by three of their peers
Mm-hmm.
under the supervision of the instructor, who has the right to override the grade. So, and they get a grade for their class participation, for their homework, for their log, if there was a log, for the quiz, and they go to the next week. So it goes 8 weeks in a row. By the ninth week, they take a final exam, which is proctored,
Mm-hmm.
get a grade for the entire course, and go to the next course. So this pedagogy is very intense, but it's proven academically, and we are extremely proud of it, and so are the students. At the beginning, it's challenging for the students. And because when you think about it, it's natural because every student, when he first get a grade by another student, he says, wait a second, who are you to give me B, right? It's like, you're a student, I'm a student, you should give me A, I'm better than you. But, but as time goes by, first of all, they learn because, it's not random grade. They have rubrics, how to give the grade. The instructor is there to correct if they didn't do it right. So when we ask our students in the second year, what is the number one thing that you like about at the university? It's the peer-to-peer learning. So yeah, and it goes very well.
I see why it is intense, and I see why students have to be, because it's looks like it's like you're sort of a self-directed, you have to be a self-directed learner to be able to, because I see there's very minimal instruction, is if I understood you right. Everything is, you have to read, you have to prepare, you have to comment, and you have to have that level of understanding of new material, and you have to do it all by yourself. And then there
Yeah.
is a second way for students to learn by reading other fellow students' assignments and learn from their mistakes, which is
And
great.
yeah, I agree. And the ability to assess someone else's work, is actually extremely hard, and it's really teach you a lot to learn how to do that.
That's right.
And we teach them how to work in teams. They always work in teams, how to accept criticism, how to give productive criticism. So yeah, I think it works very well. Yeah.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. It's awesome. It sounds exciting. For a teacher like me, it does sound exciting. Um, I have another question regarding, it's, I can see how faculty is working, in collaboration with students, and students are, so it's not a very strict or stereotypical concept of faculty. But let's talk about other resources like access to the library, access to other study material, access to other resources that students always need if they were on a traditional university setup. How do you manage these resources?
Okay, so first of all, the university run mainly by volunteers.
Mhm.
I'm a volunteer. Our president council consists of presidents of Oxford and Edinburgh and NYU and Columbia and Berkeley and Vassar and McGill and George Washington University and many others. I'm not many others great universities. And the deans and the provost and the instructors are all come to us as volunteers. We have 16. We started in 2009. In 2014, we received our initial accreditation, at
Mhm.
which point we had 500 students. Since then, we double every year.
Mhm.
Now we have over 27,000 students, and we see ourselves continue this growth. Um, our ability to serve all these students is largely by having all those volunteers who are willing, and we have over 16,000 of them who are willing to help our students. So first of all, they support the students.
Mhm.
Regarding, since everything that we do open education. We use open educational resources, which is free resources that is out there for anyone to use. That actually enable us not to ask the students to buy any textbook ever. So this is the second thing that is important. But among our 16,000 volunteers, we have library services committee. And
Oh,
this is librarians who help both our course writers, the people who write our courses, our instructors, and our students to find material. We have an online library, Liren, L-I-R-N, which has millions of titles free for our students to use. We also partnering with JSTOR to give the students material. So we are actually have all the material that the students need in order to succeed in their studies. By the way, in terms of, I'm not talking now about a library, but in addition to the instructor, every student has a program manager.
okay.
And the addition of the program managers is to help the students with any difficulty they have and to help them navigate their studies and navigate the university if they have any questions.
Mhm.
Because in any university, and definitely in online universities, students sometimes are puzzled. Which department should I ask for um, taking a leave of absence? Which department should I approach with a transcript? And sometimes, they just don't know whom to ask. So we have a program advising department that help the students, help them navigate with the universities with any question they have to save them time and give them a better service, actually. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, sounds great, sir. Um, this is a question out of my curiosity, um, but I'm sure it'll help those potential students who might be looking at University of People for their future education. Um, we started our this today's interview talking about the courses, the spread of courses University of People offer right now. Do you see that spread of courses sort of growing in future to include, as you said, right now, you're only within the domain of liberal arts. So is that going to be in the future that University of People includes other courses, and that reaches out to people or students who are interested in subjects that go beyond liberal arts? Um,
Well, I'm not sure I can answer this question and explain why. We started with business administration and computer science for two reasons.
mhm,
First, these are the programs that are most in demand worldwide, and that's the program that people would most likely help people find a better job. So that's why we start with them. We also started with them because they were, in a way, easy for us to figure out how to develop. Because when we started, we thought about two degrees that are actually more in demand. Nursing, when you look at developing countries, in many countries, it's an acute subject, the lack of enough health employees, health science employees,
mhm,
or health system employees, and education, the lack of teachers.
mhm,
But we couldn't start them because our thought was that no country would let teachers go into the classroom unless they educated them. Teachers want to certify, to make sure that they control what their teachers study, and to certify them. We couldn't work with any country in the world separately. Every program that we have are going to 200 countries. So
mhm,
we said, let's not start with education.
mhm,
again, nursing, we couldn't start because we can't do the practical part. We
Mm-hmm.
are online and we can't. Now, there is a way to teach the theoretical part and sign up with local providers to have the practical part. But again, we are tuition free. We hardly have any budget. We can't go country by country and look for partners and sign agreement. So we started without them.
Mm-hmm.
But then the idea came to teach health science.
Mm-hmm.
And the health science is not for practitioners, it's for health science employees, which actually there is a demand for millions of them. And we said, okay, that's a great idea. Let's do the health science. The health science that we teach right now in the US is, in a way, when you think about it, it's a pre-med, even though it's not exactly pre-med. And in other countries, it's either, in many countries, there are practitioners that act as doctors or nurses without any academic background. We give them the academic background. Or people who will go into working in different health departments in the countries. So that's how we overcome this obstacle. In terms of teachers, the IB approached us and asked if we're willing to develop with them master in education. We said, wow, that's an amazing thing because the IB philosophy or pedagogy is extremely powerful and well thought all over the world. And this way we can take teachers and upgrade them. And again, there are a lot of teachers and the people with BA degree that are not teachers, that want to become teachers, we can prepare them as well. So we are not teaching bachelor degree, and as such, we don't need the local certificate, but we do it. So that's why we developed this program. Right now, we have a huge demand to our programs. We're doubling every year. We think that potentially we might start certificate within our programs,
Wow.
or maybe have, right now we don't have specialization in our programs. We might, but I have to admit that we are so overwhelmed with the demand right now that we don't have the bandwidth even to think about the next program. We did announce that we are planning to develop a University of the People in Arabic, a university that will run by refugees, for refugees, because of the huge shortage of higher education opportunities for refugees in the Middle East.
Mhm.
So it is our plan to develop it. So this will be obviously our next program, but beyond that, we'll see.
Yes, absolutely. Looking at the journey, how everything is for students, and there was a well thought step to every course, every program you offer. It's amazing. I It was amazing talking to you. I didn't even worry about the questions I had. The discussion took its own course, and I had certain curious questions from my own side that I had to add because I thought I'm not going to meet President Reshef ever again, perhaps. So let me just ask that question. Thank you so much for your time. It's wonderful talking to you.
Thank you very much for your great questions. It was great talking to you. Hopefully, it's not the last time. Why last time? Come on. And good luck with your venture. I hope it will be a great success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.